Hello, class. So you must have heard that India is called as a developing country, whereas US would be called as a developed country. So do you know how do we get to this difference? That's because we're comparing the countries. So there has to be some way of comparing the countries, right? So there comes the concept of the World Bank criteria and the Human Development criteria. So we'll first focus on the World Bank criteria over here. So this World Bank criteria was given by the World Development Report, which was published by the World Bank. Okay, so now they consider average income for measuring the development of a country. And this average income is also called as the per capita income. Now there's a very simple formula for measuring the average income, which you have already done in your maths also. So let's just recall that. So per capita income is equal to the total income divided by the total population of a country. Okay? So whatever total income, you'll be adding all of them together and you'll divide it by the population. So you'll get your per capita income. So by comparing the per capita income, you can just compare the two countries. Now think a country as US and that of say Bangladesh. You will be able to see that Bangladesh would have a low per capita income. So you would call it as a less developed country or the least developed country, whereas you will call US as a developed country, right? So they categorize the countries on three bases, like on the three classifications are available to us. Number one, they are rich countries whose per capita income is US dollar 12,056 per annum and above. Okay, and this is according to 2017 data. So NCERT books have various data given because the prints keep on changing. So this data is according to 2017. Sorry. The second one is actually the low income countries over here. And the low income countries, they have the per capita income as US dollar 955 per annum or lesser. So if the country's per capita income comes out to be this much or lesser than this, you will be categorizing them as a low income country. Whereas we will see India in between these two ranges, and that's why we call them as a low middle income country. And it has a per capita income of US dollar 1820 per annum. Right? However, there's one thing to be noted down over here, that the Middle East countries and there are some other small rich countries, they are not called as a developed country because the Middle East countries are actually not developed. They have a high per capita income and they are a rich country. But then that is only because they have got the reserves of oil over there and that's why they are growing. But the development of the people over there is actually, it's not comparable to that of a developed country like US. So we do not call them as a developed country. Okay, but given the classification, we have some limitation of the World Bank criteria, or we can say the per capita income. Number one being the distribution of income. So here's a small case study that I've given you. This is country A, where the per capita income is 5,000 rupees. And then there's country B, again the per capita income is 5,000 rupees. So you would say both country A and B are equally well off, right? They are both developed, but we cannot say so. Let's look at the classification of the income. Here, all the people in country A, they earn about 4,000 to 6,000 rupees, right? So income is equally distributed over here among all these people. Whereas in country B, there is a chunk of the population, right? The major chunk of the population earning 500 rupees. And a very less number of people, they are earning 50,000 and above. But the per capita income is coming out to be the same in both the countries. So on the basis of the World Bank criteria, you would be calling both country A and B as a developed country, right? But, or you can say they are equally well off. But it is actually not, because the per capita income is not taking into account the distribution of income, right? Here people are more worse off, right? Because they're earning very less income over here. And there's only a few people in this country who are earning the chunk of the income. So it is hiding the disparities and the inequalities in the society. Also, if I say you go to US and settle down over there and you're getting a very high package over there, but there are people who deny such kind of high packages and go to US leaving India. That's because in US you would find the concept of racism also, although it may not be portrayed so broadly in news or anything, but then there is in the society, right? And you would have to go away from your family. So there are people who would have various reasons because of which they would not be willing to go to US leaving their own country. So you have various other factors for measuring the development. So income is not the only way out over here. So the quality of life is not again measurable in terms of money, right? You would want peace, you would want tranquility, you would not like to go to Iran probably and settle down over there, right? And get bombarded over there. Okay, the fourth one, the population size. Now higher the population, the ratio would come out to be lower. I'm getting you again back to the formula. Higher the population, right, lower will be the per capita income, even if the total income is high in the country. Just the mathematical formula, guys, that the greater the denominator, lesser will be your ratio, right? So population size is going to matter to you. Environment quality is not going to be taken into account while calculating the development over here. If you're living in a country where the AQI is very poor, you are living in a very poor environment, it's going to be harmful for you. So basically, the average income or the per capita income does not give you a true image of the country's development. So we have another way out. There's never stoppage to your thoughts and your explorations. So here we are with the second criteria, which is the human development criteria, which was published by the Human Development Report given by the UNDP, United Nations Development Program. So they call it the HDI, Human Development Index. And HDI is a composite index, okay? It has three categories for measuring the development. Now, it measures the development of the country on a scale of 0 to 1. 0 means the country has a low rank and it's going to have a low HDI. That means a poorly developed nation. And rank 1 would say that the country is the most developed, right? And you can be anywhere between 0 to 1 also. So there are three indicators for development in the HDI: longevity, education level, standard of living. Longevity means how long you're going to survive. So that is given by the life expectancy at birth. And in your NCERT, you will get the exact definition also, which says it is the proportion of literate population in the age group of 7 and above. So anyone who is able to get education of the age 7 and above, that proportion of that population is that is called as the literacy rate. So life expectancy, the definition, I'm just going to repeat for you again. Anyone who is able to live the expected on an average, the life of the person would be called as the life expectancy at birth. The second one being education level, you're going to measure it on terms of literacy rate and gross enrollment ratio. So I'll just repeat the definition which I had mistaken earlier. So literacy rate is the proportion of the literate population in the age group of 7 and above. And you have the gross enrollment ratio. And in your book, you would have the definition of net attendance ratio. So you should be aware about that it says the total number of children of the age group of 14 and 15 attending the school as a percentage of the total number of children of that same age group. Basically trying to say that anyone who is in the age group of 14 and 15, whether they are going to school and attending the school over there or not. So what is that percentage of those people who are attending that school? So that comes out as the net attendance ratio. And the third indicator is the standard of living. So we are going to measure the standard of living through the real per capita income. Okay, so that is how we are going to measure it. Okay, you might have a doubt that I had here talked about the per capita income, But why do we have real over here? Real actually takes into account the inflation rate in the countries. Now, inflation means the price level keeps on increasing over the time, generally on a level. So, we say that the prices keep on changing in every country also. A bottle of water in India would cost you around, say, 15 to 20 rupees, whereas if you go and to a country like Europe, you'll be paying in euros over there, pounds over there, you'll be paying a higher amount, right? 1 euro would probably be around 80 rupees, 90 rupees. So then you're going to, that money amount keeps on varying. So to take that into account, we have the concept of real per capita income. Okay. So that's how we are saying that we can compare the income levels in each and every country. So just recapitulating today's class is that we did the World Bank criteria, which is measured through per capita income, right? And its limitations are there. Whereas to overcome those limitations, we have the Human Development criteria, which is measures the development through the Human Development Index, and it has three other criteria on the basis of which we are calculating the HDI of a country, and it is better than the uh, average income criteria. So thank you for the class.